an alarming headline: 1 in 3 women have experienced sexual assault on trains.
Yes, it is very alarming, and they say that in this thing in the Sun, the article, it says that most of the attacks occur between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m, which is rush hour. So let's break down what they mean by being sexually assaulted as a woman on a train. It says it could be touching, it could be a man pressing too close to you, when it gets really packed on the carriages. They've said it's upskirting. They say it's indecent exposure as well. They say 51% of victims have had other passengers intervene to their help. But when it actually comes to reporting it to the police, it actually drops down to 18%. Me, myself, I haven't been a victim of being sexually assaulted on a train. I do understand when you're a bit too on a train and everyone's packed like sardines, and then you've got some horrible sweaty person behind you.
We've all had
and
that.
it just happens to be a man.
But I've had that. I've had that, and I'm a bloke.
This is what I think. It feels a bit like a bit of a loose interpretation of sexual assault. If you're on the tube in rush hour, people will be pressing up against you.
And I wonder,
it's strange to interpret that as assault.
I wonder how helpful these sort of headlines are, because straight away it gets blokes, as a token bloke on the panel. I know this is a serious issue, but it gets bloke shackles up, because it's like, hang on, no, I'll be, and I have been, one of the 51% who would get involved and give somebody a thump if necessary, if they're groping a woman. Like, you're not going to stand for that, right? Yeah. That's what blokes should be doing. But if it's like being pressed against or being looked at, it's like, are we lessening the actual severity of a genuine assault by broadening it out too far and making men feel like they're a bit of a problem? Or is this not about men?
Well, I think it is about that. I personally haven't had that happen to me either. I am very aware when I go on public transport, though. I don't sit there with my head in a book or my AirPods in or anything like that. My son's girlfriend, they live in... I come in and out of London regularly, but they live in London. They commute all the time, and she's in her 20s, she's blonde. She's had it happen a couple of times to her. And one of the times she was sat on a tube train, there was a few people, she wasn't on her own, there were a few people around, and the man came and sat right next to her and licked her face.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. Oh, my God. And she got her head down and AirPods on, so it shocked her, obviously, and she recoiled. And he then started kind of being aggressive with her because she was kind of backing off from him. Another man came from the other side of the couch, sat next to her, said, just talk to me, and waited till the next stop where they got off and reported.
That sort of fella, that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need other men standing in.
So these things do happen. I actually find the tube quite a courteous place. I know this is bizarre.
I know what you mean.
People go after you as you're jumping through the doors, and I'm like, what do you mean after you? We haven't got time for that behaviour. Just get in. But buses are where I find you get a lot more aggro, and I don't mean sexual necessarily, but just women and men being very kind of pushy and aggressive with you and jostling. I've actually been pushed around on buses quite a few times in London, but not. But I think. It's not kind of fair to say just because we don't happen to have those experiences, we have to recognise that it is a thing. And I think just travelling alone late at night, this is where, I do think this is where staff should be more present on tubes, on trains.
Absolutely.
I think because we don't have people going up and down because there aren't people around, then if people are behaving terribly, there's not much you can do about it.
The thing is, there are adverts on trains now. I think the reason why these cases have gone up, because I've seen on the train, they'll be like, if you feel uncomfortable, if you think you've been looked at inappropriately, please report it. And I think more women are feeling braver to come and report these cases on the train. And I think every organisation now wants to kind of make it seem that they are doing something when it comes to taking sexual assault seriously. So the trains aren't, amiss from that.
One thing I think they could do to take sexual assault more seriously is to properly get the night tube up and running again in London. I think there's a huge problem with women who, go out late at night. They might even be working late at night, want to get home and don't have a safe way of getting home.
And you can't get Ubers anymore in the city centre. It's very difficult. It's a problem. It must be a problem everywhere. If you go out as a woman and you're trying to get home, you want to feel that those facilities are there and they're properly staffed and they're run properly.
Especially when driving in London is just so...
But also, you do have a responsibility to be aware of yourself. If I felt... I would hopefully wouldn't kind of let it get to anything. If I thought somebody was looking at me in a funny way or somebody had followed me particularly on a tube, I would get off and get the next one. I would move myself.
It's important. It's not, this is a bit bigger than London, it's a night bus, if you live in most ordinary parts of Britain. And all I'm saying is, these sort of conversations need to include men as part of the solution, rather than sort of treating men as part of the problem. Because that sort of bloke who sits down and says, talk to me, that's the sort of bloke you want to be.
And then gets angry with you when you say, no, I really don't want it. And that is, I mean, that's that kind of toxic masculinity thing.
It's not about...
Yeah, but hang on a sec. I want to pick up on that.
Go on.
Because the phrase toxic masculinity, since National Men's Day, is something that really sticks in my craw. And
because you don't think it exists?
It doesn't exist, it's made up. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday, we did a huge report on knife crime, Operation Sceptre, handing in blades, and we had a young lad in, Andre. Andre was a youth crime representative from Coventry, around your neck of the woods, and he was saying that what we need is more positive masculinity in these young lads' lives, male role models who were missing, absent fathers for whatever reasons, and actually they are then preyed upon, groomed essentially by criminals, by gangsters who see vulnerable young men, and they become the alpha male. A toxic man takes over from the lack of positive masculinity. So on International Men's Day, let's hear it for positive masculinity.
That's true,
but in order, minds...
We're both trying to get... We'll form a queue.
What I started.
But Martin, in order to get to positivity, we have to deal with the negativity when it comes to toxic masculinity. And it is women who are on the receiving end of it, and it has been growing. I do feel like...
Well, most assaults are men on men, so it's men doing it, but most people who get bashed about are men. But look, it's not a competition for victimhood.
No, it's not, and I just think it comes about dealing with the culture that young men have been grown with and what they have around them. I do agree they do need more positive role models, but I think as a society we do need to see where is it going wrong for our young men. What are they missing?
Actually, Steph, I wanted to ask you about this. I've noticed recently, almost every TV programme and film I watch, all of the men seem to be, the characters seem to be sort of pathetic or embarrassing or downright horrible. And I think there is a problem. It sounds a bit trite, but no male role models on television.
No, and I think, to be honest, because there's been almost too
Thank you for saying that.
Female empowerment in that sense. I feel like the man's role in society is being diminished, and women have grown their voice, and that's kind of trickled into the entertainment world a bit. And every kind of person who does TV, whatever, they don't want it to make it seem where a man could be making a woman, undermining her in that sense.
As a woman, I'm a bit sick of watching sort of brilliant, feisty, amazing women who seem pretty unrealistic, to be honest. I mean,
but
relatable.
But you have to...
I've converted you all.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
You're 30. Yeah, you have to bear with people who have been around a bit longer, who have seen...
Absolutely.
But it's great that you're bored of it now. That's brilliant, because it's obviously quite present for you, and you see that a lot. But if you haven't seen that for a long time...
I do understand
And in the past, it might not have been. But I think you're right. I think the pendulum shouldn't swing. And what nobody should do, women shouldn't do it to men, men shouldn't do it to women. To make yourself strong and resilient, you shouldn't be pulling somebody else down.